Clouds there.
Call Nikki Kay.
Very pleased to speak on the Advanced Technology Institute Bill. At the outset, I would like to acknowledge that there is a supplementary order paper. There was a function at Parliament whereby an announcement was made around the ATI being renamed Callaghan Innovation, and there's a supplementary order paper to that effect. And I think we all in this House, many people throughout the different speeches on this bill, have acknowledged the late Sir Paul Callaghan, and we do that again this evening. I just want to start by mentioning a couple of issues around process. Obviously, the committee stage here, we are looking at part one, which is around the purpose, but members opposite have raised issues of process. As I have said before, while it was a tight six-week select committee process, we made a huge effort to ensure that stakeholders were aware of this legislation. We wrote to a number of stakeholders. We delivered a very lengthy commentary to address some of the issues that have been raised by the opposition in their speeches, but also by the many submitters that came to us. We had 23 submissions, of which we heard seven oral submissions. Of those submissions, I think it's really important to note as well that only a couple were opposed. So the majority were in favour, and we saw that actually at the announcement the other week of Callaghan Innovation. I believe that it's actually very clear what the purpose of this legislation is, and I think we also need to understand that it is part of a wider economic framework. And the comments that Megan Woods has made, and I'm going to address what Clayton Cosgrove is talking about in terms of that wider economic framework. But the comments that Megan Woods has made specifically around both the purpose and what other people think about that purpose, but also a number of the comments that she made, for instance, around core statement of purpose. These issues were addressed through the select committee process. They are in the commentary. We heard submissions around that statement of core purpose, but the big message that we came back with as a select committee, the majority of the select committee said, look, a number of the amendments that were raised were about being overly prescriptive, whether they were the stakeholder advisory group, whether it was putting forward seats for unions, whether it was prescribing geographical areas of the stakeholder advisory group. These were incredibly prescriptive things for an institute that was set up to have some flexibility, because as we all know, in the technology space, it's a rapidly changing area. So I just want to touch on a couple of things around that core purpose. So it's very clear that the first role is to help lift capability within the innovation system. And it's going to do this by a couple of things. The first is to help build industry-led innovation consortia that combine CRIs, universities, polytechnics, economic development agencies and businesses. And one of the core changes that we made as a select committee was to insert the word collaboration, because we recognise, whether it's through KiwiNet, who came to us, that there is an important aspect of this institute, that it is bringing together stakeholders. So it is providing a one-stop shop for businesses to ensure that we convert more ideas to market, but we also don't want to duplicate existing networks. The second thing is that it will be a portal of which businesses can access appropriate R&D and technical expertise and facilities within New Zealand and overseas. And again, that is a crucial driver for this institute, that it is that one-stop shop for businesses. Thirdly, it is there to foster the mobility of experts, for example, by sponsoring secondments between universities, the ATI and businesses. Again, that is about the transfer of knowledge. So I think it's very clear when we look at this purpose within both Part 1, but also the many discussions at Select Committee about whether we be overly prescriptive, that these issues have been canvassed both in a lengthy commentary. And I just want to touch on that issue that Megan Woods raised in terms of the statement of core purpose. We said in the Select Committee, we recognise that one submitter did propose that ATI be required to adopt this. We actually, the majority, disagreed with that, because we accept that while we accept that that's a specific mechanism for Crown research institutes, we recognise that ATI will have a purpose document, but that the responsible minister is currently considering what that purpose document may look like. And we need to understand that we are dealing with something different here. And there were a number of discussions, whether it was through the status of the ATI in terms of it being an autonomous Crown entity. We dealt with issues right the way along about that variance of the ATI compared to other entities. So, Mr. Chairman, in my view, the issues of the core purpose areas have been adequately canvassed throughout Select Committee. When you look at Part 1...
I'll call the Honourable David Parker.
Thank you, Mr Chairman. I rise to take a call on Part